welcome to Adam CV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel, and today we are trying out a bit of a new feature. We are not on YouTube Live. We are actually on Skype, so this is going to be kind of a little bit different for us, but we're excited to try it out. Today we are wrapping up Season 17 of American Idol. The season has come. The season has gone. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Joining me for this episode, as always, is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great, and the best part is now we get to edit this episode after the fact, so I could put in sound effects, titles, all sorts of things. But all I'm really going to end up doing is putting in clips of performances, actually, so when we're talking about it and we can say, like, oh, this note was really great, I can actually put in that note after the fact. So we'll be able to be a little bit more of like a high production value show, which I'm really excited about.
That sounds interesting. Are we going to be able to include the clips? Isn't there like all that?
I'm assuming if we do 5 seconds or less, I don't think anyone's going to complain.
All right.
And if I'm wrong, we'll adjust.
All right. So this is going to be we're going as it goes. We're learning as it goes. So, Eric, we've watched the entire season. A lot of performances, some good, some bad, some really good. Give me a grade. What do you think? How would you grade this season?
I've been negative all season long, but here's how I'm going to end it. I'm going to give it a B-.
I am going to go with a C+. I am not going to be as high. For me, this season, coming into it, had so much potential. There were some really big names that I was really looking forward to. Some really incredible talent. And I feel like coming out of the gate, there was so much hype. Like going into top 14 week, I felt like everything is right. We've got everything going. And then it just crashed and burned. Like usually for me, the show doesn't kind of start to lose steam until like top 5. And this year, it kind of lost it top 14 week. The week Ashley Hess went home for me was kind of the downer of the season, and it kind of just continued to go. That doesn't mean necessarily that this season was all bad. I still really enjoyed it. But for me, it was a bit of a bottom tier season.
Oh, it still was for me too, but even bottom tier season for me is still a B-, because there were some contestants I liked. Not a lot of them, but there were enough to keep me invested all the way till the end, somewhat. I mean, less invested than past seasons, but still. I like parts of the format, parts that I would dramatically change, but overall, I'm not as much of a hater of the season as I thought I would be, looking back a week out from it. So,
I do also just want to point out, after our last podcast on Adam CV Podcast, we, for the first time, got quite a few comments, and I just want to say, for the record, I'm just going to get this out there, and we're going to move forward afterwards. That here at Adam CV Podcast, we share our opinions. This show, for what it is an opinion show. I have opinions. Eric has opinions. I have biases. I am 100% open and transparent. There are some contestants that I will like more than others, and I hope that it wouldn't influence my grades too much, but sometimes it does. That's why Eric is my co-host, to call me out and let me know when I'm doing that. But at its base, that is what this podcast is about. We are about sharing our opinions, and it's okay to disagree with us. It's okay to think we're wrong, but we never say these opinions kind of from harsh places. They're always kind of meant, they might be a little harsh, but they are meant in a good way. They are not meant to be kind of terrible things. We always, no matter who the contestant is, we always do hope for their continued success after the show.
Absolutely. I tweeted it earlier this week. I am thrilled that Alejandro sold out his tour so fast, because when the contestants succeed, even if I don't like the contestants, if they succeed, the show succeeds. And that doesn't necessarily mean make the show better. I mean, The Voice succeeds despite having no successful alumni, but whatever. I don't rely on
Adam Levine now.
We'll get to that, possibly, probably not. I'm still not watching, but yeah. So basically, to set up this week's episode, we both picked 7 things we would change about next season of Idol. But do you want to do that first, or the top 3 performances first?
Let's do the changes first because there, like Eric said, there's going to be two kind of major things we're going to talk about during this podcast. Yes, we're going to be kind of wrapping up the season, sharing our final thoughts, kind of closing the chapter and turning the page for America's Got Talent, which I think we're going to be starting to cover this week, right?
Yep. I'm
Yeah,
super
so
excited. The two previews all were pretty good.
I'm excited to talk about it. At the very least, I enjoy these podcasts. So let's kind of dive into the changes that we would make to the show. And would you like to go first, or should I go first, Eric?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And I ranked them not in order of importance, but I saved the most important one for last. But I'll start with one of the other important ones. Fire the judges. Regardless of whether
all of them?
All of them. They all need to go at this point. Regardless of whether or not you love the talent this year or not, it cannot be stressed that anybody in any job needs constructive criticism in order to get better at what they do. And seeing that these judges were totally incapable of providing that constructive criticism, I think they all need to go. Plain and simple. The judges are not supposed to be cheerleaders. They're supposed to be honest, and they're supposed to help the contestants get better.
I was thinking about this a lot this week, and I was actually brought, in my opinion, the shift kind of happened with the judges. It happened after an event happened on, I believe it was an X Factor show, with one of the judges. I don't remember her name, but she said something very harsh to a contestant. Do you know who I'm talking about, Eric?
No.
There was like a contestant and he sang and he was like an okay singer, but she was really harshly criticizing him, like overly criticizing. I think like because he was dressed a certain way because it was
New Zealand, right?
Yeah, it was Natalie Kills. I think that was her name.
The New Zealand. I thought you meant like X Factor UK or USA.
So,
no, that took it to a different level.
Yeah. So no, but what I'm thinking is that was kind of the start of the shift from kind of around that time. I believe that's when the contestants, when the focus kind of changed from being like a judge to being kind of more mentor / cheerleader, depending on which show you're watching. I think that might have started it because people kind of, the judges maybe were scared because that was a big deal. Like that made headline news. Do you maybe agree?
I think it started before that. That was like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it started with season 10 of American Idol. When they got rid of Simon and they decided to do Brandy, J-Lo, Steven, that's when it changed. But then again, the judges were mean to one contestant a year. Of course, they picked the wrong contestant to be mean to usually, but generally they got a lot nicer from that point on.
All right, so Eric is calling for an entire overhaul of the judges. Yeah, that's another point on my personal list. So I guess we're down to 6 more. But I guess this begs the question to ask, who would be some names that you would maybe want to see potentially replacing them on your dream panel? If you could pick anyone on your panel. I will say, though, Eric, 4 people. 4 people just for fun. Who would your 4 judges be?
Well, it's that my dream panel is actually another point on my top 7 things I would change.
All right, so let's talk about that next.
Okay, so to replace, well, I'll get there, but first I want to say my number 2 is ditch Bobby Bones, which is many contestants.
That was also on mine.
Yep, many contestants this year had a ton of raw talent, but didn't pick the right songs or get the right advice. Madison's my number 1 example of that.
Bobby Bones was just a pillar, though. He's like a face. Like, he's not the job. He's just the face. It's like he's not. They kind of are just. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. They're pretending he's kind of something that he isn't. His role is kind of just for show more than doing.
Yes, but what they need to do then is fire him and get someone who actually will do the real job. Get someone who's going to help contestants with song choice, with arrangements, steer them clear of anything that won't work. A real mentor would have never let a performance like Eddie Island's Benny and the Jets happen. Plain and simple.
He killed a Muppet. Eddie Island, remember that? Was that the Benny and the Jets one? Wait. When he had like this Muppet like coat?
I don't remember.
All right. Well, anyway, go on.
Yeah, a real mentor would never let that happen. Plain and simple. And the fact that it happened means that there's no real mentors on the show.
All right. And who would be the judges you would be replacing?
Well, my number 3 point is plain and simple. Hire alumni to be on the show full time as judges or mentors.
All of them?
All the judges except for one should be an alumni. They should have 2 alumni on the panel and then a producer type. Plain and simple.
I don't know if I would go that far. I would say one alumni. In my opinion, if I was thinking about this and who would I want to be on my panel, if I'm looking at the alumni and I could pick one, there's only one really good option, I think, of all of them, which is Adam Lambert, which I think would be the best person to have as a judge. Personal preference, bias, I'm totally saying it's a bias. I would like Sarah Bareilles as a judge. Are you a fan of her, Eric?
I like her. But my most important thing is Adam Lambert. The ratings for the season were fine for the most part. They jumped up, they jumped down. They nearly matched the audition during the episode with Adam Lambert and Queen Week. And people watch the show because of the successful alumni they found on it. Remind viewers of past successes. It will only get more of them to tune in. Plain and simple.
All right. How about you? If you were not picking an alumni as a judge, who would you want?
That's not a good question because I would pick alumni as judges. But for the producer type, I don't know. I'm going to say something really controversial. I like Jimmy Iovine as a judge.
What? As a judge? What do you think he's up to? I feel like he's just
I know exactly what he's up to. He's at Apple right now.
He is? What's he doing?
He's behind Apple Music.
Really? That's kind of cool.
He's basically in charge of Apple Music right now. So yeah, that's what he's up to.
All right. Well, I just want to say for my other judge, I don't know. There are like a couple names. I didn't really put that much thought into the other ones. Maybe someone like a Jessie J or someone, some modern, very modern singer, but not BB Rexa.
I want alumni, plain and simple. I was just feeling Jimmy as the type of when Jimmy would talk about the contestants after the next night, he would actually be relatively honest. He might not always be right, but he would always be honest. And that's what I want. I want honest judges who are not afraid to give their real opinions on things. And who are not afraid to say, this sucked, or this needs work, or you need to fix this. And make the contestants better. Don't be there to blow smoke.
All right. By the way, I would say Josh Groban. That would be my third. Josh Groban, Sarah Bareilles, Adam Lambert. Is that good? Did I do a good job? Do I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
You get a thumb sideways. You got 2 out of 3.
All right. Well, fair enough. So I guess I'm going to share one of the changes I would want to make to the season. And this is going to be a little bit of a personal gripe with the show, and that Eric is probably not going to maybe agree with this, but I would say I would make a requirement for any contestant once they make it to either the top 24 or the 14 or top 14 that they are required in the contract. I would want this in the contract that they would have to watch a full season of a previous idol. Just some strategy. I just want them to be able to, because I feel like every season they kind of take these people who probably have never seen an episode. Most of these people have never seen a season before. And I feel there's a lot to learn from watching what worked for other people and what didn't work. I think it's more important for them to see what didn't work than to what did work, because if they know that, they can at least form some form of a strategy. They can have some kind of a way of thinking of what they're going to do. And I think that can make the show better. Do you think so, Eric?
I think so, but again, the producers won't do that because they like the ability to be able to sabotage people.
But that's the thing. We always get these stories like the contestants come out and they're like, you don't see it all. Like the auditions aren't actually in front of the judges. They're actually in this cattle call. And I always, whenever I see a story, I was like, oh, there's someone who doesn't watch the show. They don't there's some self-awareness that kind of comes from actually watching a previous season, and maybe even just digging into some of the fan base of knowing what you're getting into before you kind of dive headfirst into it. That I think every single contestant, they need a media coach or someone to just.
That I can agree with.
I'm just saying that I want those contestants to be a little bit more prepared, because Otherwise, it's just the same shtick every year. We get these contestants who have no idea what they're doing. And if they had that awareness, they could maybe drill something for themselves that's like a Gina Irene kind of strategy where there's a level they're thinking about what's going on and they're not pulling Elaine Hardy and just doing the same songs every week.
Sure.
All
Agreed.
right. Your turn. What's another change you would like made?
More live shows. We need time to see these contestants grow.
100%.
6 weeks is not enough. And I know we'll never get back to the glory days of like 13 or 14 weeks of live shows. Can we do 8 or 9? I think 8 or 9 would be reasonable. And considering the live shows are now the highest rated part of the season, this should already be the plan if they have any common sense.
When I heard that when American Idol was coming back for the season, I heard one of the best news that I heard coming off of Idol 16 was that there was going to be like an extra week or two added to this season. And that got me so excited. I was like, yes, we're going to get another week of live shows, or maybe even 2 weeks of live shows. It's going to be longer. We won't have to cut people so much. And they added it to the audition rounds.
No, they added it to live shows as well. We had an extra week of live shows.
Yeah, but they also added I think it was like 6 episodes. Am I right?
There were 6 weeks of live shows, 7 episodes.
No, for auditions.
Oh, yeah. There are 5 episodes of auditions.
Why do we need 4? Like, you should be able to show enough in those. That's 8 hours.
Yeah, I agreed. I would honestly cut down auditions to 3 episodes, Hollywood Week to 2 episodes, Green Mile to 3 episodes, and then rest live shows. I would get to the live shows a lot faster if that was up to me.
I would say 4 weeks, 4 episodes of auditions. For me, I go back. I love that season 10 and 11
format. That was a great format.
That was, in my opinion, the best format because, first of all, the wild cards actually have a chance. Like, it's a small chance, but they have a chance. And I feel like we get to know the contestants better. I loved that Las Vegas round. And I feel like these past seasons, we kind of bolt through those middle rounds, like Hollywood Week. And
I don't mind that, but I mind that we bolt through the live shows.
All right. Well, season 11, we were able to take our time fully. We got to get the full buffet of everything we kind of want.
Agreed. That's not realistic.
I just love those rounds. Like, I still, even now, like, it's funny. I can remember, like, most of the names of people who were in season 11 who didn't even make it far, like, who were just cut in that Vegas round. Like, there's so many people just because the show kind of, I don't know what it was, but they just had this way where, first of all, we got to see, like, these past few seasons of Idol, there's kind of, we see the auditions of everyone who makes it to top 24, which I enjoy. But in those older seasons, when we wouldn't see all the auditions and kind of, if that face kind of popped up in Hollywood Week, there was maybe still some hope that they would go far. Do you know what I'm saying a little bit? Like that, I enjoy that and I miss that. And I can gush about season 11, but yeah, I agree with you. I would like some more live shows. I would just want to know the contestants some more.
Agreed.
So,
okay.
Go on. Your next change.
Don't set people up for failure.
That's never going to change. Go on.
This is the top things I would change. Not the top 7 things that will happen, but it's the top 7 things I would change. So bad auditions were funny for the first year, maybe the second year. 17 years later, they're not funny anymore. This is the one thing I like about The Voice, is that they don't have bad auditions. They have bad contestants, but they're not bad auditions. I think for Mean Spirited, we don't need to see the bad auditions. Every televised audition, I think, should be a positive experience for the singer. Also in this category, I would say don't put people through if they don't have a chance. So nobody seriously thought Eddie Island would have any chance of winning American Idol, right? Did anyone seriously?
I would have maybe put him through to top 14. Maybe.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have.
Before it became a train wreck then. But before that.
If it's a maybe, it should be a no. Because cast winners, cast people you think have a shot at winning. And if they don't have a shot at winning, don't put them through. Because it's mean to set them up to fail.
This is another problem I always had with the show. I feel like once the new season starts, it's basically a clean slate. Like the same mistakes are made. The same kind of, like I feel like the producers or someone, maybe it's like they don't learn from what happened so we're just doomed to kind of repeat these, like the contestants, they come out disenchanted because they're like, well, it wasn't exactly like what I had thought. And this goes back to the topic I was talking about before, where some awareness of what goes into the show, like to know that when you're on camera and you're being interviewed by a producer, they are not your friend. They are someone who are looking for something to kind of, if you're a contestant that they kind of maybe have it out for, they are looking for something to kind of, some stupid thing you're going to say that they could shine a spotlight on. I think that goes back to the contestants. That's not so much the producers. It's the contestants who are giving it to them. And I think they need, I almost wish it would someone unaffiliated with American Idol to kind of have these discussions with them. Like just someone to kind of tell them, like, here's what you gotta be careful with what you say, what you post on social media. Everything you say, you are under a microscope. You need to be really careful about what you're doing. And yeah, we're gonna get those tryhards and that the producers kind of like to make fun of. But if those people are going to give it to them, like, there's not much you can really do.
Right. Anyway, my number 6. Wait, do you have one first?
You said most of mine, so go on.
The live show voting format needs work. I think live coast-to-coast voting is great, personally, but it needs one small tweak to be perfect. Open voting after everybody has performed, not at the start of the show. Keep it open for 10 to 15 minutes.
Have some guest performer.
Fill that time with an alumni performance and 2 commercial breaks. Then, close the voting and announce it got kicked off, and give them a goodbye package. That way, they get to sing.
Yes.
That way, nobody can vote until everyone has performed. Well, they don't necessarily get to sing, but they get a goodbye package at least. No one can vote until everyone's performed, and we can vote on who did the best performance, and we get time for an alumni performance, and it's the most fair way of doing it.
Yeah, like that's exactly what should happen. Like that makes so much sense that they will never do it.
You're right, exactly.
Like what you just described, like that's it. That's what should be, but they like, I don't know what, maybe they just don't like change, but they also do love change. It's really wildly like inconsistent with what kind of happened. But yeah, that I can't even add to that. That's exactly like what should happen. It's, if you were to sit like a bunch of viewers down and like ask them how it should be done, like I would hope that would be the consensus they would kind of come to.
Yeah, because it makes sense. It makes too much sense. So it's never gonna happen because they don't listen to us. Anyway, number 7 is my most important one.
All right, let's see.
And we'll both elaborate on this one. Idol needs to be about the contestants. This is the most important thing. You could sort of say it's a summary of the other 6, but I think it's worth stressing. When we see the judges' shenanigans before and after contestant performs, that's fine. I'm not going to enjoy it, but it's fine. But when the contestants performing, it needs to be about them. No judges talking over performances. No cutaways to the judges' reactions. It should be about the contestant. Idol used to be great at this, but they've drifted. The one thing about The Voice that Idol should be copying the least is making it about the judges.
You're preaching to the choir at this point. Like,
I know, but
this is the hill I'm gonna die on. Damn it.
Yep.
I agree. Like, there's nothing
to add to that.
There are snippets of video from this season where it's like this show is ending and the contestants are like smiling and there's Luke Bryan. Who's like
hiding in the audience, kind of covering half the frame. Oh, I've seen those. It's season 17 in a nutshell. It's the judges standing in the way of everyone watching the contestants. It's glorious. Oh, God.
I'm just seeing actually on Reddit, breaking news, a video Madison Vandenberg just uploaded to YouTube. Her story of American Idol. Wish I could have seen that before this.
I watched it.
You did? What did she talk about?
She was overwhelmingly positive about it all. She's very happy with her time on the show.
I mean, if she had a good experience, like, good for her. Like, at least
She didn't say
I
anything negative, so nothing noteworthy in that
American
video.
Idol at its base, if you are a contestant given the blessing of getting to be on it, like we always make fun of people who say like who say like I had fun. But at the same time that is kind of what the show should be. Like there should be some seriousness to it, but you also got to enjoy it while it's happening kind of. And I think that if she did have a positive experience, that's like the best thing. Like there are contestants who come away from the show feeling a lot different. So
Yeah,
sometimes
we've seen them.
it's good to hear. All
Okay.
right. Otherwise, I'm just thinking what other changes I would make. I would love if they kept bringing back that the claw machine. Like that is one of the biggest takeaways for me from this season. Like
That is really sad.
I'm just trying to think. I always want the auditions to kind of be in the closed rooms. I do not like the kind of big open auditions that are kind of run on America's Got Talent and the X Factor. So I like that. Hollywood Week is I would maybe want to spend a little bit more time on it because I feel like we said, we kind of ran through those middle rounds. Not the live shows, but I mean like those middle where it was kind of I I like the show because I come away with like a bunch of names that I could kind of hope will return next season. Like this year, the only people I remember from that cut round are Shay and Margie Mays. Like
Okay.
that's it.
I remember Shay, and that's it. Yeah, whatever. I
Because
think, yeah.
it just gives me like something to hope for next year. Like I always love that. Like in those earlier seasons, like when it was still on Fox, like there would be those cuts and I would still know that name. I would still be able to remember them. And I feel like I don't really have that with these contestants.
I would also say pick better songs, pick more diverse song lists. Songs don't need to be repeated that we heard a zillion times before. I think this season was better on that, at least. We didn't hear I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, I don't think, did we?
Asteroids. I think that's kind of a song that is frowned upon after the allegations. No, that was R. Kelly. Which song? We're talking about the
Aerosmith song.
Oh, no, we got lucky. We dodged the asteroid.
Yep, we did. We dodged the asteroid. That's the title of this episode. Which, by the way, we're actually going to set the titles on YouTube now, which would be fun. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, next.
Before we can kind of get into the our favorite performances of the season, well, there's kind of some Idol news and TV music competition shows in general that I just want to touch on. The biggest one that I can think of first off that kind of made a bit of headlines was Adam Levine on The Voice, which is a show that I used to watch. There was one season of the show that I was hooked. Like I was watching it with as much love as I had for American Idol. It was the season where Tessa and Chin won, and that was, to this day, I still believe the best talent, maybe even like on all these shows. That every contestant on that season, I could even name them: James Wolpert, Matthew Schuler, Jacqueline. Oh, what was her name?
Jackie Lee.
Jackie Lee, Tessa and Chin, Kat Robichaud, Holly Henry. Like I could go Caroline Pennell, who I still absolutely love. Like that batch of contestants was one of the highest caliber. And I've totally gone on a tangent because I just want to say that Adam Levine is leaving the show, which is really crazy to me. What do you make of it, Eric?
I don't care. I don't watch The Voice.
Now, here's the question I have for you, Eric. You don't watch the show, but I still have this. Eric, do you think he quit or he quit?
Somewhere in between. I think it was a mutual decision.
You know, a lot of people have been very harsh on Adam Levine, like on Twitter. Like Michael Slezak was like, this should have happened a while ago. And I am of the opinion that whatever thought you might have on him as a coach, I genuinely believe he did like the show. And I do believe he did root for the contestants. And of those four judges that have come and gone, I believe he is the one who is the most invested in the show. I truly believe that no, let me talk.
That's because you haven't
Maybe
watched
until
the
these
show.
past couple of seasons, but I think like he is someone who is he reminds me like of what he is not afraid to critique the show. He does not like the format. He is someone who kind of I do believe that he genuinely just wants the best for his contestants. I do believe that he became disenfranchised because the show just kind of was twisting and turning and it just wasn't what it used to be. And now go discredit everything I say, Cedric.
I'm not gonna because I don't watch The Voice. I don't have the evidence, but everything I've read suggests that you're dead wrong about everything you just said. So
I don't know. Because he's the one who's always talking about like contestants post show who don't get the record deals and the show kind of just forgets them. I think he does. I feel like people might feel differently, but I do believe that he does. He is one of the only judges that I've heard who actually advocates for the contestants. Maybe it's not the same now, but from what I've seen in the past, he does like support them.
him, Kelly, and Blake are the three that have really done it.
All right. Well, anyway, that's just me getting on my soapbox. But anyway, the other kind of big news that I want to touch on is the biggest thing that kind of came out was Alejandro Aranda. He had a tour that he scheduled, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it minutes that it was sold out?
Yeah, seems like it.
Tell me what happened.
What happened is he booked venues that are about 300 people, and he should have booked venues that are about 1,000 people.
I think he underestimated, right?
Yeah. He booked venues that are way too small, and they sold out basically instantly, and a lot of fans were upset. I wasn't, but a lot of fans were.
I feel like there's something like going on with Alejandro where I feel like he doesn't read the press, like he doesn't realize how like many people are kind of rooting for him because I believe, I'm going to say this, Eric, I think of the top three, he has the best shot of going somewhere. Like
I agree.
Like Lane Hardy is kind of riding high. I don't know if it's going to last that much longer. I think Alejandro, though, he has staying power. I think his songs, like you have not been that high on his singing ability, but his songs are beautiful. And now that he's off the show, he is going to thrive. Like I truly believe like he is going to sit down, get a really good album and get it out and maybe even American Idol will promote it like it didn't really matter.
Maybe. I hope he has success. I'm not a fan. I hope he's successful. And that's all I'll say.
All right. Well, if he was going to have any things nearby, I would go to it. But the nearest one was pretty far, so I couldn't go to it. But yeah, otherwise, any other kind of big news? Oh, there is one other that I'm just thinking of. Jeremiah got to perform with Ben Platt. Am I correct?
I think.
Did you get to catch that performance, Eric?
I did not, but I saw Madison on Live with Kelly and Ryan.
Oh, what did she perform?
She performed Falling, and I didn't have to hear, and I have a clean audio version of it without Luke or Lionel talking over it. Yay!
Other news, one big thing that someone posted on Reddit, and I messaged to Eric about it. As it turns out, Eddie Island is actually a real place. There is an island.
We can fly there. We can be on Eddie Island. Yay!
According to the Wikipedia page, it is an uninhabited island in a word I can't describe. Can't
pronounce.
Region in Canada. This sounds like if I'm Eddie Island and I'm looking for some promo, I would buy that island, and I would live there.
Great.
Otherwise, should we get into our favorite 3 performances of the season?
Yep. You go first.
All right.
We'll build.
Well, wait, I'm just seeing this article that just came up on my feed. Eddie Island, who ironically we were just talking about, has apparently just dropped his debut album.
Huh. Good for him.
It was pretty fast. The Billboard article says the fastest post-Idol album release. ever with industry standard. That's pretty cool.
Good for him.
All right. Well, otherwise, our top 3 favorite performances of the season. So I actually told Eric ahead of time, so he has probably had ample time to tell me what.
I didn't really pay attention. So
All right. So I think my number 1 is going to be pretty obvious, but my number 3 is going to be Alejandro Aranda's Audition, which might be the first time an audition has ever been in my top 10, top 3. Which just kind of speaks a little bit to the performances this season. His performance of Out Loud, which I didn't pick my performances based on whether they were saying the best. I picked them based on which ones I enjoyed the most and which ones I consistently went back to listen to over and over. And I listened to that song a lot. Alejandro's Audition song is a winner. Like it's such a good song. It's so like connectable. Like there's just something about it that just his guitar playing. I love it. What did you think about it, Eric?
I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna say anything.
All right. Well, as tough as Eric is on Alejandro, I'm pretty high on him. I love his music. I look forward to whatever he has coming up next. All right. What about you? What is your number 3 favorite performance of the season?
Well, keeping in mind that I made myself a rule that I can only pick one performance per contestant. So my number 3 is Demetrius Graham. You'll Be in My Heart. No matter what they say.
Really? Tell me why.
Because I voted 30 times for him after it. He's my 3rd favorite contestant of the season. Low bar. And then he gets cut right after the performance. Season 17 in a nutshell.
Demetrius was kind of an interesting contestant for me because I feel like of our top 14, he is probably in the bottom 3 for how much exposure we got to see of him kind of leading up to his kind of top 24 performance. He's the only one of the top 14 who we didn't see the audition.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I came into the live rounds kind of with not really knowing what to make of him. Like I just remember when he did I think it was the Adele song, Hello. And he started doing some weird.
It was very weird. He's very mixed, but his best performances, wow, they were good.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed that performance 100%. I think I said it was the best of the night, but if I didn't, it was. Yeah, his run was kind of just strange to me, but he did have at least that one winner in it, I will say.
Good.
Okay. All right.
Your number 2.
My number 2. What I'm gonna say, my bias is gonna be showing for my number 1 spot, but my number 2 spot is Jeremiah performance in the top 24 week. It was when he did To Make You Feel My Love by the piano. There is no one left to dry your tears. A+. One of the, I believe, vocally the best performance of the season. What did you think?
I pick a different one for the best vocal performance of the season, but this one was really, really good. I'm not going to argue with it, but I like a different one better.
It is such a shame we lost him so early because I truly believe he is the closest we've come to someone who has like a strategy. Like there's thought behind his actions, I believe. And I think he is a smart contestant. He is a talented Idol contestant. And it's rare that we kind of see the blend of those kind of all the good makings of a good contestant. And it's just such a shame we lost him so early.
He's my winner, regardless of what happened. My number 2, guess.
Probably something from either Madison or Jeremiah. I'm probably going to guess this is Fallen.
Correct.
Keep on falling.
Yes.
Fallen by Madison is my number 2. And the thing is, I hated that we had to have Lionel talking over it. I'm happy she got to perform it on Live with Kelly and Ryan, so I have a good audio version of it now. Plain and simple, this was Madison's best performance of the season, and it was really, really good.
Vocally, I would put it in the top 3 for me. I couldn't get past her getting up from the piano a little bit. I don't know why
I know you and your piano love. Okay.
Stay at the piano. If you are going to play a piano, do not get up from it. That is like my one biggest gripe with these contestants. Like I love when they don't get up from pianos. Madison, I've had a lot of a love-hate with Madison's run on the show. I think she is a very talented vocalist. I think she is the reason I would implement that rule of having contestants kind of forced to sit down and just look at what other contestants did in the past. I would also have a strategy coach. Like this is just something that would never happen, but she is someone who needed strategy. She needed someone to kind of, as much as we say don't read the comments, I think there is a part of Madison that could have benefited from maybe getting a touch of what the public opinion was of, so that she could maybe pivot a little. Do you agree?
Maybe to an extent, yeah.
All right. So
Your
we both
number
got
one. Which Lacey performance was it?
my number one performance, totally biased, is Lacey K. Booth performing "I Miss You."
Don't waste your time on me.
I love this performance. It is the one I've consistently gone back and listened to. I love what she took. She took a rock song by a Blink 182 and she flipped it into like a love ballad. Like it's just, well, it's not really. It's a pretty really dark and depressing song, but she made it like soft and like just she like massaged it and made it so beautiful. And I can't stop listening to it. Like I want a studio recording of it because it's just so beautiful. It showed off everything about Lacey that I enjoyed from her season. She wasn't a consistent contestant, but when she was good, she was damn good. What did you think of it, Eric?
I'm glad you liked it.
That is Eric's way of saying it was terrible.
In my opinion. But I will say that I just thought of my number 8 thing I would change, which is studio recordings, damn it. Bring them back.
Is it just too much money to make them?
They've made them really cheap. At the very least, record the rehearsal like X Factor does.
I'm going to disagree on that, though. Because I'm going to disagree to an extent. So hear me out. I want studio recordings. I do not want them published during the show. Because if they're published during the show, then they show up on iTunes and they can kind of...
Not needed. That's not necessarily... They don't have
to
do it.
They would, though. Like, if they did that...
But they don't have to.
But they would. The producers would. They would want that bragging rights of saying, hey, look, one of our contestants is number 1 on iTunes.
Whatever.
So I would want that, but I would want it post-show. Like, they should record it and then just release it. Like, each contestant should get, like, this little package of, like, all their recordings from the season.
That's fine. I'm okay with that, too.
All right. So, who for you is your number 1 favorite performance of the season?
Jeremiah Lloyd Harmon, Who Wants to Live Forever. Hands down. For me, this was the only true moment of the whole season. It was effortlessly sung. It was a beautiful arrangement. It was a knockout performance, and then he got cut the next week because this season sucked.
I don't know if I would put it number 1 for me, just as a personal. Like I love that the Make You Feel My Love, the Bob Dylan song above it, because I love that performance so much. And maybe it's just because I don't know like the Who Wants to Live Forever song. I've heard it in the past, but it's not like my favorite. So I do have that like songs. What?
It's one of my all-time favorite Queen songs. And the fact that I liked it despite having heard Adam Lambert sing it is kudos to Jeremiah.
All right. Well, Jeremiah is a very talented contestant. We did have I almost would want like a redo of this top 14
of the voting. Yeah, I'd like that a lot.
I would like just like everyone goes back into the ring and we're starting over.
Yeah,
like
that'd be nice.
Like I would want to sit every contestant like, here's what you're gonna do, here's what you're not gonna do, and here's how you're gonna give the best run you can. And overall, though, Eric, I still enjoy this season. I will always enjoy Idol seasons. They are fun. They are enjoyable. They do a lot of the things better than The Voice does, but
Low
they're
bar,
starting
but
to bleed together a little bit with some of the recent changes. And for the next season, what I am most hoping for is some familiar faces. I always say this in the past. I love returning contestants. Always. If there is a moment
I'd
like
love to see some on the panel, is what I'll agree with you on that.
exactly. I'm hoping to see some familiar contestants next season. Those are the biggest draw for the season for me. Like, that is my favorite part, honestly.
Yep.
So, what are you most looking forward to for next season, if anything?
I'm looking forward to that claw machine, damn it. Someone's gonna pick something up eventually.
I wonder if there's like, I think there was like disco balls inside of them. I wonder if you crack it and there's like $1 million. All right. Well, any final thoughts on the season, or are we good?
We're good.
All right. Well, coming up this week, America's Got Talent, I believe, premieres
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I saw one clip from the show. It was a comedian, and the description said like hilarious comedian or the funniest, something really funny. And I was like, okay, you're putting the stakes really high. Let's see if you can live up to it. Wasn't the biggest fan.
Here's the thing, I liked her a lot better than any of the comedians last year, but not by much.
I remember
Vicky last year. Vicky was
I remember
way
Vicky
worse.
and Samuel J. Comroe.
Yeah, she was funnier than both of them.
All right. Well, otherwise, I want to say I am Adam Samuel. You could find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. I run my two websites, adamsoapbox.com, adamcvblog.com. Where can we find you, Eric?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter, Eric_Ascher01 on YouTube, ericascher.com.
If you have made it this far in the podcast, first of all, you are awesome. Second of all, let us know in the comments what you thought of this new kind of format that we're kind of using these, that we're going to be kind of, we're trying out this new system. Let us know if you like it, what your thoughts. We are always trying to improve these podcasts for you guys. Eric has something to say.
And if you have any comments for us, because we can't do live chat with this format, we have a new system, which actually will let people send it. We'll premiere each episode on YouTube using YouTube premieres, so you'll be able to talk with us that way. And if you have any questions for us that you'd like us to answer in next week's episode, please leave them in the comments. And we're not opening each episode. First 5 minutes will be answering viewer questions and comments and things. So that's how we're gonna keep this community going. Because Google Hangouts is going away soon, and we wanted to find a way, something to replace it with, that gives us some benefits and still keeps the community, because we love the live chat and we love the community aspect of the show. So
yes, so we are looking forward to hearing all your feedback. Let us know everything, the good, the bad, whatever you think. We will try to make this the best experience it can be. So Eric, perfect attendance this season. Thank you so much for helping out another season of these shows in the books. So thank you for joining me for helping and consistently helping out with the podcast. So yeah, thanks. Thank you again.
no problem.
All right. So guys, we will be back later this week for America's Got Talent. We hope you will join us for it. Hopefully there's some good talent. Hopefully the judges are not as annoying as these guys were.
Well, we know one of them will be, but let's hope the other three can step up.
All right. Well, guys, until next time, peace.